First of all, I'd like to greet Mr. LaRouche and Schiller Institute for such an interesting and productive conference. I think that it is a very important event which is taking place just in time before the financial system collapse, and we still have some maybe months or so to think about the future and to think what could be done in order to overcome those bottlenecks and dangers which could appear in the nearest future. For me, it is a great pleasure and honor to participate in this conference and to share some ideas on those subjects which Mr. LaRouche raised in his brilliant presentation. I'd concentrate on regularities which determines the modern economic development, which we must take into consideration thinking about the nearest future and about the actions which could be implemented to overcome the worldwide catastrophe and to find the way out from those crises which Mr. LaRouche described. Mr. LaRouche showed that we are facing the crisis of global financial system and the present global economic order. But how this crisis change the global system? Whether the globalization process stops or it will find the new forms, or perhaps the world economy will collapse in some regions which will try to find out their own way from the chaos, or the world oligarchy will find the new opportunities to create the new global order based on horror, terrorism, or worldwide dictatorship. What could happen? In order to answer all these questions, I think we shall take into account some important features of the present globalization process. Usually, globalization is considered as a process of creating of the world market, which will give more opportunities to each country to develop its own contemporary advantages, to improve its efficiency, to find new ways to cooperate with each other. And according to the mainstream in economic theory, this creation of the worldwide markets also is the creation of the new opportunities and increasing of the efficiency, not only of the world economy, but the efficiency of the economy of each country participating in globalization process. But this is, in fact, not the real true. These are some features which we see at the surface when the governments of even of the most powerful countries diminish their self, distract their self, in order to give new opportunities for free trade, for free flows of capital, labor, information, thinking that in this free and worldwide free market, they will create at the same time new opportunities for their companies and their people. We must take into the mind the other part, the other side of the medal of the globalization process. In fact, it is not only the integration of the different countries into the one world market, it is also the disintegration of the world, where we can see the very small number of highly developed countries which concentrate wealth, concentrate power, concentrate capital, concentrate information and knowledge, the large periphery of this core of the world economy, where we see growing inequality, poverty, the huge flow out of capital, the huge brain drains, and so forth. And finally, we see also the emerging set of the so-called dead states and even dead countries, which nobody cares what happens there. So the present globalization process includes regularities which leads to the polarization of the countries by means of unequal exchange of goods, capital, and information. The core of the global system, which includes North American, Western European countries, and Japan with some new industrialized countries, in fact, concentrate the possibilities to extract rent from all our other world. These possibilities emerged from two main sources. The first source is the leading role of the technological change in the worldwide development. The share of science and technological progress in economic growth at the moment in the developed countries is accountable to 3/4, or according to some calculations, even to the 95% of growth of GDP. It means that those countries and those companies, those structures in the world market which concentrate intellectual potential and which are able to produce new technologies, new opportunities for production and for taking profits, in fact, has opportunity to have intellectual rent through the unequal trade with other world, with other partners. Those countries which are unable to be at the frontier of the technological change has to produce in exchange has to give in exchange the cheap labor, the natural resources, so they has to finance the economic growth and further development of the core of the world economic system. And this creates a huge inequality in economic exchange. If we look for the present markets, we can see that the science-intensive products has about 50% even more in their price as intellectual rent. These are superprofits which they get from the exchange in the market. So, as Mr. LaRouche showed in his speech and in his papers, such kind of economic order inevitably should collapse for obvious reasons which leads to the collapse of any kind of financial pyramid, which we see not only in Russian experience, but also in the financial crisis in Asia recently, before financial crisis in Mexico, and so forth. I do not have time to speak about experience of various countries which trying to find their way in this difficult situation. But I am sure that each country could contribute in this. And in Russia, we also have discussion what will be the further economic policy. Either we shall continue to the policy which already caused crash of the Russian economy, continue to the Washington consensus policy without any active role of the government, the policy of self-destruction of the government, and in this case the Russian economy will collapse together with the worldwide financial crisis, or we shall find the way out, trying to find our own opportunities to propose other nations to participate in mutually beneficial programs, including those which Mr. LaRouche mentioned in his very interesting description of the Eurasian corridor developments and so forth. I fully support those ideas which Mr. LaRouche said in his speech about the necessity to develop worldwide infrastructure based on the new technologies. It should include not only the new transportation infrastructure, it should include also, of course, the information infrastructure, telecommunications, research and development institutions which should work on the worldwide level. It should include the worldwide social infrastructure also. I think that we should, the world, at least the leading nations, should come to the common responsibility of about the supply of the basic food, of water, of heat, and so forth to the population of the whole world, doesn't matter where the people live. And the final question, what will happen with the world organizations? At the present, the majority of the world organizations, except maybe the scientific organizations and some social, non-commercial organizations, use the obsolete technology to plan and develop their activity. They are based mainly on the contributions comes from countries participating in these organizations. And it obviously means that if you speak about the main financial organizations, that they are determined by those countries which are the main contributors to the capital and to the opportunities. It is not the secret that the IMF, in fact, is a branch of American Treasury or Federal Reserve. The similar situation with the World Bank. The WTO organization is not the organization of the independent countries, in fact. We know who plays the key role in this organization, and this is the common picture. As far as we are speaking about the new economic order, we should think, I think, about the new architecture of the world organizations, which must have their own opportunities to work at the worldwide level according to their task force. If we come to the situation when the worldwide money creation center appears, it means that together with it, the worldwide credit facilities appears as well. It is very difficult to speak about the cheap credits for the whole world for different countries if you do not have the world financial system. So if we come to the situation when the world currency is establishing, it means that the world organization, which will be in charge of this currency, which should be under the control of the nations which organize this mechanism, also have opportunity to create cheap credits to all over the world. Of course, such kind of ideas couldn't be implemented immediately. I think it is the step-by-step process. But in any case, we should think about the creation of the international investment opportunities, which will be controlled by the nations, but which will be based on their own economic activity. For instance, we could think about the worldwide tax on the transnational corporations. We could think about the worldwide tax on the currency speculations, and to use this taxation, at least of the speculative operations, in order to finance those infrastructure projects which are necessary for the whole mankind. In order to not only to think about all these opportunities, but to implement them, we need the political will. And I hope that this conference will contribute to this. I totally agree with Mr. LaRouche that Russia could play, and perhaps would play, the very important role in establishment that this new world architecture. But unfortunately, the Russian president is not among the participants in our conference. So we have a lot of problems in all the countries. And I hope that this conference will help us to solve these problems and to find the way out from the financial catastrophe. Thank you.